from Carnegie Studios in Longmont, Colorado, it's Puppet News. Good evening, I'm Herman Hansen, and I want to put on my boogie shoes and boogie with you.
And I'm Aranda Laurer, and this is Puppet News.
Philadelphia bike riders won't need their shirts, or pants, or skirts, or even underwear, just a mask. Organizers of the annual Philly Naked Bike Ride say this year's event will take place August 28 and will require masks based on the city's earlier coronavirus restrictions. The city lifted most of its COVID-19 rules this week, citing an increase in vaccinations and a decrease in cases. But ride organizers said they hadn't had a chance to chat since the city's guidelines changed. So for the time being, they're going to stick with our initial mask guidance, lead organizer Wesley Noonan-Sisa said. They'll keep an eye on what the city says in the next month or so. Ride participants, sometimes in the thousands, usually gather in a park to strip off their clothes and paint each other's bodies before carefully hopping on their bikes. The Naked Ride is to promote positive body image, advocate for the safety of cyclists, and protest dependence on fossil fuels. Riders pedal a 10-mile course while taking in sights, including Independence Hall, the Liberty Bell, and the Philadelphia Museum of Art steps featured in the Rocky movies. The coronavirus pandemic slammed the brakes on the ride that had been planned for last year. Organizers said then that canceling the 2020 event was the most responsible thing to do. Authorities rescued a man who said he had been trapped for 2 days inside a large fan at a Northern California vineyard. The man was discovered Tuesday by a deputy responding to a call about a suspicious vehicle parked near the winery in Santa Rosa, the Sonoma County Sheriff's Office said in a statement. The deputy saw a hat on a piece of farming equipment and then found the man stuck inside the shaft of a vineyard fan. Firefighters rescued him. The man indicated he liked to take pictures of the engines of old farm equipment, the statement said. After a thorough investigation, which revealed the farm equipment wasn't antique and the man had far more methamphetamine than camera equipment, the motivation to climb into the fan shaft remains a total mystery. The 38-year-old man required medical treatment, but is expected to make a full recovery, the office said. The man will be charged with trespassing and drug possession, as well as violations of a probation case, the statement said. Vineyard fans are used to circulate air across vines to keep grapes from freezing during colder months.
The North St. Vrain and St. Vrain Creek will be closed to tubing and single-chamber float devices for the immediate future. The closure took effect on June 9th at 4 p.m. and will go through June 25th at 12 p.m. The closure encompasses the North St. Vrain and St. Vrain Creeks from Apple Valley Road, County Road 71, to North Foothills Highway, including through the towns of Lyons. Sheriff deputies will be posting notices advising recreationists of the closure. The Golden-based river tube rental company Adventure West River added the St. Vrain Creek to its third location in Colorado last week. The family-owned business is excited to promote a family-friendly recreation in Longmont. Longmont partnered with Adventure West to provide tubing of the St. Vrain Creek. The shuttle service across the creek from Dickens Farm Nature Area transports adventure seekers to the starting point of the 2-mile float. From there, customers enjoy a 1 to 2 hour float down the scenic course. A portion of the rental fees from visitors and locals benefit Longmont's recreational services. Adventure West business owner Beth Batala, who runs the business with her husband Mitch, said the St. Vrain Creek made a great addition to its Golden and Littleton sites for its family-friendly, gentle float. Batula first floated down the creek 2 years ago while visiting friends in Longmont. Adventure West launched last Friday but closed Sunday after water levels rose too high for safe floating. Batila expects that they can reopen June 19th, but is consistently monitoring levels from Longmont's River Cam.
Already famous at home, China's wandering elephants are now becoming international stars. Major global media are chronicling the herd's more than year-long 300-mile trek from their home in a wildlife reserve in mountainous southwest Yunnan province to the outskirts of the provincial capital of Kunming. Twitter and YouTube are full of clips of their various antics, particularly of the 2 calves who slipped into an irrigation ditch and had to be helped out by older members of the group. We should be more like the elephant and be more family-oriented, take family vacations, and help and care for and protect each other. Read one comment on YouTube, signed McDeterministic Chaos. The elephants have been trending for days on China's Weibo microblogging service with photos of the group sleeping, attracting 25,000 posts and 200 million views Monday night. The 15-member herd has been caught at night trotting down urban streets by security cameras, filmed constantly from the air by more than a dozen drones, and followed by those seeking to minimize damage and keep both pachyderms and people out of harm's way. They've raided farms for food and water, visited a car dealership, and even showed up at a retirement home where they poked their trunks into some of the rooms, prompting one elderly man to hide under his bed. While no animals or people have been hurt, reports put damage to crops at more than $1 million. 16 animals were originally in the group, but the government says 2 returned home and a baby was born during the walk. The herd is now composed of 6 female and 3 male adults, 3 juveniles and 3 calves, according to official reports. What exactly motivated them to make the epic journey remains a mystery, although they appear to be especially attracted to corn, tropical fruit, and other crops that are tasty, plentiful, and easy to obtain in the lush tropical region that is home to about 300 of the animals. Others have speculated their leader may be simply lost. Asian elephants are loyal to their home ranges unless there have been disturbances, loss of resources, or development, in which case they may move out, according to Nalanga Jayansingh, manager for Asian species conservation at the World Wildlife Fund. In this case, we don't really know why they left their home range, but do know that there has been significant habitat loss due to agriculture and conversion of forests into plantations within that range in the last few decades, Jayansingh wrote in an email. What possibly happened here is that in their search for new habitat, they got lost along the way and kept going. Authorities have been working to avoid negative interactions and must determine what the next best steps here are and keep human-elephant conflict at bay, Jayansingh wrote. Kunming is to host the upcoming Convention on Biological Diversity's Convention of Parties to discuss topics such as human-wildlife conflict. And this is a real-time example of the importance of addressing the issue and its root causes for the benefit of both wildlife and people, she wrote. Elephants are given the top level of protection in China, allowing their numbers to steadily increase even as their natural habitat shrinks, and requiring farmers and others to exercise maximum restraint when encountering them. Government orders have told people to stay inside and not to gawk at them or use firecrackers or otherwise attempt to scare them away. So far, more passive means are being used to keep them out of urban areas, including parking trucks and construction equipment to block roads and use of food drops to lure them away. As of Tuesday, the herd remained on the outskirts of Kunming, a city of 7 million, with one of the males having moved away on his own, creating even more excitement and worry for those attempting to keep tabs on them. A statement Monday from a provincial command center set up to monitor the group said the elephants appeared to be resting, while more than 410 emergency response personnel and police personnel, scores of vehicles, and 14 drones were deployed to monitor them. Area residents were evacuated, temporary traffic control measures implemented, and 2 tons of elephant food put into place. Another objective was to maintain silence to create conditions for guiding the elephant group to migrate west and south, the command center said. Asian elephants, the continent's largest land animal, are declining overall, with less than 50,000 left in the wild. Habitat loss and resulting human-wildlife conflict are their biggest threats, along with poaching and population isolation.
Out Boulder County's Pride motorcades honor LGBTQ advocates in local government with the title of Grand Marshal. Instead of separate celebrations in Longmont and Boulder, Out Boulder County, or OBC, is traveling with a day of motorcades. Riding at the head of the parade will be 4 Grand Marshals honoring the work that government officials in Boulder County have done for LGBTQ inclusion and visibility. This year's marshals are Longmont City Manager Harold Dominguez, former Boulder County Clerk Clea Rorex, Lafayette's Mayor Jamie Harkins, and City Administrator Fritz Sprague. We wanted to honor leaders who have made the LGBTQ community feel safe and included, said Marty Moore, Executive Director of OBC. Each of the selected marshals are either active allies for the LGBTQ+ community or open members of the community themselves. According to the UCLA's William Institute, 45% of U.S. population and 4.6% of Colorado's population identify as LGBTQ as of July 2020. The LGBTQ Victory Institute's 2020 report on LGBTQ representation in government notes that only 0.17% of elected officials in the U.S. are openly LGBTQ. Colorado's Governor Jared Polis was the first openly gay governor to be elected in the U.S. Having representatives that match the diversity of their constituency, particularly at the local level, can help people feel seen and included in the conversation around policy making and the welfare of their community.
A dozen retailers, including Gap and H&M, are collaborating on a campaign this fall to enlist customers to combat bad behavior against retail workers. The campaign, spearheaded by nonprofits Open to All and Holla Back, as well as the Retail Industry Leaders Association, comes as workers face increased harassment as they try to enforce social distancing and mask protocols during the pandemic. Among those who have been the targets of abuse are people of color, those with disability, and those who identify as LGBTQ. Kala Devanongarud, director of Open to All, said the campaign is not asking customers to step in to physically stop altercations, but rather to help de-escalate the situation and show support for workers. Participating retailers will have signage in their stores with QR codes, allowing customers to sign a pledge of support. There will also be a toolkit designed by Hollaback to show how customers can help, including a how to create a distraction for the abuser as well as documenting the situation and bringing in someone else to help. Even as the spread of COVID-19 slows, retailers fear abusive behavior will worsen as stores anticipate big crowds for the back-to-school and holiday seasons. With many states and businesses relaxing mask mandates and customers experiencing pandemic fatigue, workers worry about their safety. There is a lot of ambiguity, Rongarud said. People have a lot of fatigue. That is when tempers flare. The Open to All coalition is made of 600,000 businesses, mostly retail establishments, that have collaborated on training and hiring practices. It launched in 2018 with companies like Levi Strauss & Company and Gap, pledging not to discriminate against employees or customers based on race, sexual orientation, or other characteristics. The movement was spurred by controversies such as florists refusing to provide flowers for gay weddings and stores turning away Muslim customers. The pandemic has since exposed the vulnerabilities of frontline workers. Last September, a group of retailers felt they needed to do something more to protect their employees against discriminatory and racist behavior, Rongarud said. Although these abusive customers are a minority, she said they still have damaging effects on shoppers and workers alike. Emily May, founder of Hollaback, says she has seen a spike in interest among average citizens as well as corporations wanting bystander training from her organization. Last year, she had 25,000 people sign up for a free 1-hour Zoom training, up 5,000 from 2019. So far this year, 130,000 people have registered. Chris Nelson, Senior Vice President of Asset Management at Gap Inc., said the chain had seen an increase in incidents against store workers of color, though he couldn't disclose a number. We've spent a lot of time with COVID-19 responses, but there was another global pandemic, systemic racism, Nelson said. It is not okay. That is not part of our values. An amorous cicada was blamed for causing a car crash in Ohio. The insect flew through an open window, striking the driver in the face Monday night, Cincinnati police said. The motorist drove off Riverside Drive and crashed into a utility pole, damaging the vehicle. The motorist sustained minor injuries, but police tweeted photos showing the car was heavily damaged. Cicadas are swarming across the Cincinnati area. They are part of Brood X, which emerge from the ground every 17 years to mate. Police advised motorists to keep their windows closed for the time being.
Boulder County Public Health is ramping down COVID-19 testing locations, including the one at Boulder County Fairgrounds and the St. Vrain Valley Schools Innovation Center. As vaccinations go up, the need for ongoing testing sites has diminished, according to Boulder County news release. Health officials are still encouraging symptomatic community members to get tested, even if they have been vaccinated. The following is the closing or modified schedule for testing sites. Boulder County Fairgrounds on June 9th will be the last day for operations. BCPH is seeking a new site and will announce details in the coming weeks. St. Vrain Valley School Innovation Center will close on June 18th. Stasio Ballfields will close September 30th. The Lions testing site at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints ended on May 28th. Netherland Community Center testing site will continue on a month-to-month basis, and testing within shelters will continue on a month-to-month basis. Mobile teams will be available to provide testing should there be concerning outbreaks, according to a news release. Also, BCPH will continue to coordinate with early childhood education, K-12, and summer camp partners, as well as the University of Colorado Boulder for the fall.
And that's all we have time for. For Puppet News, I'm LeBron James.
And I'm Aranda Larar, and this is Puppet News.
Good night.